And so Lady's Mantle is used both to prepare for a pregnancy, during pregnancy safely, and then also postpartum to help tone the tissues back together.
Hello and welcome to the Herbs with Rosalee podcast, a show exploring how herbs heal as medicine, as food, and through nature connection. I'm your host, Rosalee de la Forêt. I created this YouTube channel to share trusted herbal wisdom so that you can get the best results when relying on herbs for your health. I love offering up practical knowledge to help you dive deeper into the world of medicinal plants and seasonal living. Each episode of the Herbs with Rosalee podcast is shared on YouTube as well as your favorite podcast app. Transcripts and recipes for each episode can be found at herbswithrosaleepodcast.com or through the link in the video description. Also in the video description, you'll find other helpful resources. For example, to get my best herbal tips, as well as fun bonuses, be sure to sign up for my weekly herbal newsletter. Okay, grab your cup of tea and let's dive in. This week's student spotlight is on Mylinda Ogundepe, who's currently residing in California. Mylinda is enrolled in several of our courses, including the Podcast Circle, Rooted Medicine Circle, and Herbal Energetics course. She brings warmth, curiosity, and a collaborative spirit to everything she does, from learning to grow herbs in a small space to involving her young daughter and husband in her studies. Mylinda lives and shares her herbal journey with great heart, and she actively supports classmates by asking thoughtful questions and offering helpful insights. To honor her contributions, Mountain Rose Herbs is sending Mylinda a $50 gift certificate to stock up on their incredible selection of sustainably sourced herbal supplies. Mountain Rose Herbs is my go-to for high-quality organic spices, herbal remedies, and even hard-to-find botanicals. They ship all over the U.S. and have a massive selection of products to fuel your herbal adventures. Thank you so much to Mountain Rose Herbs for supporting our amazing students. And if you'd like to explore more of Mountain Rose Herbs' offerings and support this show in the process, you can find the special link in the show notes. Hey, it's Rosalee. You know, creating this podcast has been one of the most rewarding parts of my herbal work. And if you found something meaningful here, whether it's a new perspective, a favorite recipe, or just a sense of calm, I want to let you know there's a good way to go even deeper. It's called the Podcast Circle. Inside, you'll get access to live classes taught by some of my favorite herbal teachers, behind-the-scenes updates, and a beautiful library of herbal resources that we've gathered over the years. But more than that, it's a space to connect with fellow plant lovers who care about the same things you do. And truly, your membership helps make this podcast possible. It's how we keep the episodes coming and the herbal goodness flowing. So if you're ready to be part of something more, something rooted in connection, head over to herbalpodcastcircle.com. I'd love to see you there. What if a plant could hold the morning in its hands? A velvet green leaf, perfectly cupped, cradling a single bead of water like it's guarding a secret. In this episode, herbalist Alyssa Dennis invites us into the world of Lady's Mantle, a plant with a name straight out of a fairy tale and a history steeped in both myth and medicine. We wander through the city streets, noticing cracks where plants make their home, travel with her to the misty shores of Iona, and explore why this unassuming leaf has fascinated herbalists for centuries. Lady's Mantle is a botanical treasure, both tonifying and mysterious, and this conversation will leave you seeing it with new eyes. For those of you who don't already know her, Alyssa Dennis is a dedicated earth activist, educator, interdisciplinary artist, and clinical herbalist devoted to the movements of peace, justice, and ecological kinship. Her work has been to reawaken her ancestral traditions of plant medicine and to guide her community back into relationship with the living world. Alyssa has 2 fine art degrees, advanced training in clinical herbalism, and spent years within the natural building profession. She is the founder of Eclipta Herbal and steward of a vibrant herbal sanctuary in Baltimore City, a living classroom home to over 100 species of medicinal plants and counting. This space is a heart-centered venture of ecological conservation of both the human body and the land body, which serves as gathering ground for plant medicine education, community building, earth skills workshops, and collaboration. Alyssa, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Oh, I'm really looking forward to this. I'm really looking forward to getting to know you. Actually, that's kind of like the thing I'm most excited for. Followed closely by, I'm so into Lady's Mantle right now. It's been calling my name, so I'm really excited about your plant too. So yeah, let's dive in. I would just love to hear from you and how your world has been shaped by the plants and everything that's brought you here to us today.
Yeah, thanks for that question. Yeah, so much, right? But I guess I have answered this question before, and so it continues to evolve. But as I think about it, it's really just for me, been such a deep remembering because I feel like in the last 50 to 100 years, I mean, before that, everyone had a connection to the land in a very embodied way. I mean, you had to. I mean, that's what I think about so much is that just a couple of generations ago, we were all very subsistence living in a way. A lot of us, most of the people in the world, and a lot of people in the world still do, right? So I just think that there's sort of like this inherent connection to observing the land, being with the plants, being around them, cultivating plants. And so I just, for whatever reason, I mean, my background, I still practice making art. I have an undergrad and a graduate degree, and I went to an arts high school. And so the arts and just thinking creatively, thinking outside of cultural boxes has been like my norm always. um, and ecology has always been a deep love of mine. I mean, just since I was like, did a school assembly on, like acid rain and stuff like that. Like, I was like, just indebted to the environment. I was just like, the environment needs our help. So I did natural building for many years. I worked I worked like building straw bale structures, and adobe plasters and things like that. And I got really interested in like Buckminster Fuller and Wes Anderson and Wes Jackson, not Wes Anderson. That's the filmmaker.
I was like,
Um,
whoa, I didn't know there was a. Thank you for clarifying
Wes
that.
Jackson, yeah, students of Buckminster Fuller, but just things like that, like within the architecture world, and just like how we build a life, like how we really think about how we live, really, and just not having cultural norms and the way that things are determine just the structure of our lives. So it was like a really deep thing for me. And I was making art about that and being a construction worker and building with straw, building with plants, and the earth itself. So that just like kind of led into, food as medicine. And then it led into like, I started going on walks with a friend of mine who was a botanist around Baltimore City. And she would start to point out plants that were familiar to her. And one day she pointed out a plant and said, "Oh, that you can eat that plant." And it was growing out of the sidewalk crack, which is a lot of people's story. It's kind of funny. And it was plantain. And so here's this plant that I had never really even gave a second thought about. And I was just like so enthralled by what she said. I was like, what? You can? And this just broke that more of that systemic kind of like what kind of system are we living in, like that I don't know these things. And so I just became obsessed. And so that was, I don't know, 15 years ago. And then took all kinds of like foraging. I got into all of that and took some classes by Steve Brill in New York City, wild man Steve Brill, bless his heart. But that, and then I was living in New York City and I just got so, I was biking everywhere because I just felt like I needed to embody my environment and look at it and be with it and look who's on the street. And I've always been a biker, but like in New York City specifically was my main form of transportation. And then, when you do that, you see all the plants, like the consistent things that you see, the biomarkers, the like the cafe on the corner, but just things that you would consistently see. And I was already really interested in plants, and not in an herbal clinical way or anything like that, but just kind of that whole idea of plants in the urban environment, who thrives there, what kind of plants are thriving there. And that to me was just like such a strong pull. And then I just started thinking, like, there's an herb shop down, and I went into the herb shop, and there were some flyers for an herb school, and I went through a 3-year herbal program at Arbor Vitae School of Traditional Herbalism, and I just felt like at the end, my biggest thing, everyone was like, comment on your experience. And I was just like, this experience wholeheartedly has brought me home. I feel at home. And almost every time I say that, I want to cry, because it is home to my body, and it's home to just being grounded into where I am. Like, you don't have to reach for things constantly and be like, I'm in lack of, I'm in, And so, that's just sort of been my path. And I feel like it was calling me for a little while, for a long time, just that being with the land in a really intimate way. And I just had to find my path for that intimacy, because I thought, like straw bale building was that, and it is in a lot of ways, but like herbal medicine is literally the tether of this like vast world that we are in the Western, well, west of what, right? Like in the industrial parts of the world that we have lost the tether to. And so, and people talk about environmentalism and environmental destruction. And I just think like herbalism is key to that spiritual embodiment of the being with the land and being with the environment, and really nourishing it back to because it's really nourishing ourselves, because it's not the land that's the problem, it's that just the way that we interact with it, it's our relationship with it. So yeah,
That's so beautiful, Alyssa. I just have to touch back on a couple of things that really struck me. One, I love that it was plantain growing through a crack in the sidewalk, and it grabbed you so strongly. Like what I'm just envisioning, like how you said the plants were just calling to you for so long. It's like you're right on that edge. Like you just needed like the tiniest whisper to like push you over, and to like fall into the rabbit hole of the plant world. That's all it took. Like you can eat that, and there's just like the mind is expanded. So I love that. Like I 100% believe you. Like they were calling you, and you were just ready for it. So yeah, I love that. That's really beautiful. And I also feel that herbalism is such a key part of us regaining relationship with the land and living in a good way with this world. Because part of what I love is it's just so practical. It doesn't like, it can be esoteric if people like being esoteric, and it can be so simple, like picking that plantain leaf with respect, and making a spit poultice of it, or using it to heal our digestion or whatever, and it just becomes so practical, like such a reminder that we're of this earth, and there's so much magic and healing in this earth all around us. So I love the way you put that. So thank you for that. And yeah, and I'm working on a project with Rich Mandelbaum, so it's cool to hear that you were through Arbor Vitae too. Yeah, it's wonderful. Wonderful. I would love to hear. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just going to comment on the comment about it can be so many things, so in so many ways to so many different people. The access points of being with the earth. It's not. There's no discrimination.
So
yeah.
true.
So yeah, thanks. Yeah, that's really great.
Yeah, it's often too like thanks for bringing that up, because it's not even that it has to be one or the other. Like I can say like what brought me into herbalism isn't always the same thing that's kept me here. It's like it changes and grows and deepens with time and unexpected ways. So it's wonderful that there's all these different tendrils calling us in.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I would love to hear a little bit more about like your urban experience. That's something I cannot speak to. I like literally cannot see my neighbors. I live in a forest. I loved what you said about like being in the in the environment every day and biking. Like for me, it's walking. I generally walk every day. And so I'm seeing the plants every single day. And so I have that experience that I can relate to, but I'm, in a town, like the town I live in, I'm like 8 miles from town, and there's like 100 people in that town. So it's very rural.
Mhm.
And I love the urban, I don't know, I think sometimes this like false belief that like to be an herbalist, you have to live in the forest, for example. And I would love to hear about just the urban experience. And if you wouldn't mind just speaking a little bit about your gardens too, I'd love to hear about that.
Yeah, thanks. I know, and I think about this all the time. I'm like, why did I choose the city? I do. I think about people who live in more rural areas, and just being able to be surrounded by the woods is like just feels so idyllic in my mind, and I wish I had more access to that. Although Baltimore is really great in that it is very close to, like, a 10-minute drive. I can be in the woods. They're not woods that are like upstate New York or Maine or something like that, but so it is a little different. And I can definitely feel and I can see the trees, how old they are, and just the diversity is I'm aware of all of that. But yeah, the city just felt like a place where it was, yeah, like you said, it's just a place people don't think of it with, that has a lot of um, ecology outside of human ecology. It's very much a human reflection, it's cities and hard surfaces and the human made. And I think I felt like that was such a good challenge for me, is to and a lot of cities have such a dense population of people. And I was like, wow, I could really reach people in this language of the earth in a more concentrated way, because I will live around more people. But yeah, I felt like it was just the challenge that I wanted to have, where to connect people to ecology that's outside of the human ecology. And I saw a lot of people doing that in New York City too. I wasn't the only person, and I just got so excited by those people, and we, inspired each other. And a lot of it was around invasive plants, and so my thesis project, basically, if you can call it a thesis project at herb school, was called The Invasive Apothecary. And so just speaking about those plants specifically, and what is their role, whether people think they have a role or not. And that could be a role, ecological role, social role, all of those things. And so I'm from Baltimore, and I moved back here, during the pandemic, just to be closer to family, my husband's family as well. And so, and just to have a little bit more land. I mean, I couldn't own land in New York City. It was impossible. So although the parks are just such an inspiration, and there's a lot of really wonderful work happening in New York City parks, which is only 14% of the land mass, which is incredible. So it was kind of the best of both worlds being in Baltimore. I could have a little piece of land that could present that challenge of, like, how do I create, an ecology of an herbal sanctuary in a city? And so far so good. I mean, we have about half to 3/4 acre, and we have over 125 different species, and that's always growing. And just being able to go outside and have this postage stamp of, like, there's positives and negatives as well, because I love going to other places to see where plants unintentionally grow, because I learned so much more about why they thrive there and their habitat, their ideal habitat. So I'm sort of missing a little bit of that, but I sort of try and, simulate that in a way. And only have plants that are of my bioregion, learning so much about what does thrive well here, and specifically in this space. So it's a lot of just learning from the plants themselves. I mean, that was really the impetus for growing the plants here in a small scale and not like a farm production scale, was to learn from the plants themselves, but also to be able to bring people here to see the plants growing, be embodied in their sensory system, to sit with the plants, feel the plants, not have someone just talk at them. And, you know, you can learn so much from books, and there are so many great books out there, but just having people sit with the plants, look at them, just have a sensory experience of the urban ecology in this way, was just like a huge goal of mine, and seem to be achieving that, so that's good.
That what a gift that must be to have that many medicinal plants in this, this little spot that people can go and enjoy and have a sensorial experience, like you said. How long, I know a garden is never done per se, but how long did it take, would you say, to like get that going? Because that's no small feat there.
Yeah. Well, we had a really warm winter. I think it was 2021. And so I got started as soon as, I mean, we really got started as soon as we moved into this house, but just planning things. But we're in our 5th season now, and it seems to get a little easier every year. Like this year, I was really planning on being out there a lot more because it needed it. And as long as we're getting rain, which, isn't always the case, but the herbs, they're good, they are really happy. And I just, have to pull out some grass. I mean, I make it sound really easy, right? But there's a lot of harvesting going on. There's a lot of weeding. I mean, the weeding gets better and better every year. Mulching and just keeping things covered, all the perennials. That's what perennials are so great at, is that they just take up that space. So, and I also have a woodland medicinal garden. So we have a lot of shade in one area. And I just love that I'm sort of trying to, I don't know, for lack of a better word, simulate this woodland experience. So we have a lot of endangered plants that we're cultivating. I haven't harvested any yet, but, we have golden seal. And I did have ginseng at one point, did not survive. But yeah, just, we have pawpaws and what else? Black cohosh, blue hook cohosh, bloodroot, coltsfoot, like yeah.
You got this little microclimate going on there.
Yeah. And some stuff does better than others, and you just see what works. I lose stuff all the time, but mostly doing good.
Oh, good. Well, some of my best friends are farmers, and Cosma, my dear friend, he once told me when I first started my garden, he said, by year 5, you might start to feel like you know a little something.
Yeah.
I kind of found that to be true, though, like you're saying too, like the things about the weeding and the mulching and just kind of beginning to like feel a little bit more on top of things by year 5.
Yeah, and just the insect population I could see, just the differences from season to season and year to year. I mean, we also have mites, and we have thrips, and we have leaf mold, and, so it's like learning how to mitigate that and why it's happening. And so it's all very exciting.
Well, and I imagine you must have ladies' mantle growing. I'm excited to dive in.
Yeah, I do.
And why did ladies' mantle pop out at you as the herb you wanted to chat about today?
Well, I had this experience. I went to Scotland in June of this year. And I had this just blew me away experience. I mean, it didn't really hit me until later when I got back, just that day when I got back. And it was like I was winding down for the day back at, the house we were renting in Scotland. But I was just, I mean, I don't even know where to start with it, but should I tell the story?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. Well, so I have this, I also wrote a little article about this, which we can put in the show notes if you want, but just going a little deeper, but I'll just kind of give the short of it, is that I've always, just tangentially heard stories about Iona, which is a little tiny 3-mile island off the coast of Western Scotland. And we were on the Isle of Mull, so it's right off the coast of Mull. So Mull is a bigger island, and then Iona is a smaller. And so Iona always spoke stories to me about the divine feminine. That's like what I knew. And that wasn't universally shared, really. I started, kind of asking people, and people, especially in the US, like I don't think really have they don't have like an understanding of a lot of the like longer history of the British Isles. So when I went there, I was like, okay, great. I'm going to see what kind of like information I can grasp. But the only thing I could really, the whole island is kind of dedicated to St. Columba, which, historically he was someone who was a Christian missionary that came from Ireland. And, there's like an abbey that was built in his name in the 13th century, but he was there with his monastery long, long before that. So that was kind of the historic grounding of that place. But then, so I was just like, where are these references to women? Like, I just know that they're there. And even the name Iona. So basically I went into the nunnery. There's a nunnery there. And of course the nunnery has never been restored, whereas the abbey has been restored several times. The abbey to St. Columba, but the nunnery that was housed by women has never been restored and doesn't even have a roof anymore. It's just ruined walls. So I go into the nunnery, and there is a little mention of a Sheelanigig. I don't know if you're familiar, but they are these rudimentary sculptures of what looks like a squatting woman with a very exaggerated vulva. And so they're all over the British Isles and some in France and Spain, but there are hundreds of them, and they're all different. And, studies have shown that they were sculpted during the medieval period when these churches were being built, but maybe they were influenced by the earlier Celtic Druidic traditions. And so there's just like a lot of unknowns about these figurines, but so some of them have been destroyed, covered up. A lot of them are just gone into complete disrepair, but there is one on the nunnery on Iona, very hard to see. I actually couldn't even see the makeup of the sculpture, but it's very, very faint. So that was just like one reference there. And I was like, oh my gosh, okay, at least they're mentioning that. But it was also just a little note on the side of a plaque. It was like not even. So then I went in, going around through the nunnery, and the first plant that I saw was lady's mantle. And I go, oh my God. Like I just start kind of freaking out because I know the plant medicine of lady's mantle. I just studied this plant. I have this plant in my garden. And so I know, everyone I'm traveling with, they're like, what is she freaking out about? And so I just kind of walk off on my own, and sort of just like reeling about it. And I'm just like taking pictures, and I'm just like, hi, lady's mantle. And so there's just like this invisibility that was happening was also like in the invisibility of this plant that was staring at me, that I knew. I was like, it was like seeing an old friend, or just a friend that had a story to tell me. And so just a really deep story to tell me about the island and about the sacred feminine and about the lost history of like women on this island. And so, and then there's one other mention of women on the island, which was like that during excavations, they did find the bones of women. I'm not really sure when those excavations happened, but that predated Columba. Is what they say. So there's a lot of mystery around the island. There are sacred wells on the island, which are always, usually the well maidens of the British Isles is like a long and broad history, and has a lot of stories around that as well. But just to me, I guess I'll talk about lady's mantle. So in case anyone doesn't know, is that lady's mantle is an herb one is just a bitter astringent herb. And when I think bitter astringent, it's going to clean up any dampness and pull the tissues back together when they're relaxed and pulled apart. And when does that happen? This happens when you, people who can't get pregnant usually have relaxed tissue states. They're not being able to hold a pregnancy. And so Lady's Mantle is used both to prepare for a pregnancy, during pregnancy safely, and then also postpartum to help tone the tissues back together. Giving birth is a very you're also in a very damp, relaxed state. All that surge of progesterone and just all those hormones are there to relax your body, relax all the tissues so that you can accept this human being that's now growing inside of you. So, and just the leaf is a holding. So the Lady's Mantle refers to Lady Mary, or it actually, is a cloak, a veiled woman, wearing a protective cloak, but that also can protect her environment with this cloak. The environment itself is protected by this cloak of the leaf, really. And I have one here, and you can see this broad leaf kidney shape, and it's a low growing ground cover. It literally is a cloak each leaf is like a cloak protecting the earth. And then the Latin name, Alchemilla, who I was seeing on Iona was vulgaris, but I have a native Lady's Mantle here, Alchemilla mollis. And so Alchemilla refers to little alchemist, and the alchemists would just revered this plant because literally the plant itself and their relationship with water and how water becomes purified. So Lady's Mantle literally scientifically has a way to distill water, which is just amazing because it's doing what an alembic or a retort would do, So you think about the way that essential oils are made and how a hydrosol is made, and but that's how dew forms. Dew is forming because it's a refined process or it's purified water, basically, because it's gone through all of the elements of the day and condensed down in and forming all over the plants. But Lady's Mantle has some of the cells that make up the leaf are the word is hydathode. Yeah, so this process of distilling water is made possible by the hydathodes, which are specialized plant structures, and they're pores actually of the leaves, and they release water from the plant's xylem in this process of filtration. So, and this phenomenon is visible in the very, very early morning, and they're the little beads of water right at the tip of the leaves, and that's where you can tell that process is happening, and it's just like little jewels on the edge of the leaf. And then, of course, everyone knows when it rains, like it can actually collect water, so it's actually collecting a lot of water, just rainwater, and pulling up, and you can see those beads of water everywhere around, so it looks like mercury in a way. And yeah, so I have a lot more about this. I could keep going forever and ever, but this dew, this is a purification process that is that really is essential to life. I mean, purified water, we can't live without it. And when you're surrounded by salt water, water purification was really hard to do before industrialization on a mass scale, so you had to really know where to get it. And I feel like the alchemists really knew this plant in this way, and that this dew was collected to use as medicine, or it was the mercurius, the medium, the medicine. And so there's just so much about water there that, we come from an inner ocean within the womb of our mother's body. So this womb or tomb of Mama Earth, and there's the ancient Kaliak, who is, she's a primordial mother. She's basically like Mother Mary in the Druidic Celtic traditions, and she is the land itself. And so, and she is also the veiled one. She wears a veil. And so this sort of, overlay of Christian mythology and Christian traditional symbolism, and with, this Sheila Nagig, and basically this image of this squatting woman with an exaggerated vulva. I was like, oh my God, y'all, like, have you ever seen a person giving birth? Like, this is what it looks like. I mean, there's an invisibility to that, because most of us will say, no, I have not seen someone giving birth. And so, but literally that exaggerated vulva is what happens when your head is coming when your head is coming out. So I just think that these are such taboo things that happen every day. There's 360,000 people born every day, or I think that's the average. But and so this is happening so many times a day, but it's sort of like something that's so invisible. And so just that birthing process, and I just was starting to feel like Lady's Mantle was really teaching me this primordial origin story from the British Isles. I was like, oh my God, that's what Iona is. And, because Lady's Mantle has such an affinity for the uterus and for toning the tissues of the uterus, and really bringing back that balance between water and just the astringency needed to hold water, but also expel excess water. And that's what the kidneys do. And so you can also think in Chinese medicine, the kidneys are the life gate. They are the pre and postnatal qi, are the kidneys, the hot water heater of our bodies. We need the qi, but also that yin, the yin and yang together. So it's balancing water, it's balancing the heat versus the amount of water. And that's, our inner ocean. Basically, you need to balance the life force, the energy, the qi throughout your body, and how much water you have. I mean, I'm seeing clients all the time where I have a client right now where her blood pulse is so weak. I mean, I couldn't feel it. I couldn't find it. It was not there at all on all 3 points, but her chi side, totally there. But she's anemic. Her tongue is really white and a little blue. She's fatigued. So she literally has, if you think of like the blood and the chi as an ocean, so the ocean water is the blood, your blood, and then the chi is the waves. And so if you have a bunch of waves going and no water, like, imagine what that can do to upset your body. So just that balance between the chi and the water was really all speaking to me with Lady's Mantle. And the fact that I was on the ocean, I was on this island, and I had to get on a boat to get to this place. So I had to cross the ocean to get here. And so, I'm looking at these white sand beaches and looking out at the water and thinking, that's so much a process of learning about the plants and where they thrive. And when I looked at Lady's Mantle, I was like, is this the descendant of, all these women that were here, this Lady's Mantle that I'm seeing, are you descended from all of these women who were here before? And just being able to read the landscape in that way and she's just speaking to me in all of these ways. And if I had not seen Lady's Mantle, I don't know if all of this would have come about. And there's so much more that I've written about this experience, but But hopefully that gives you a little bit of about Lady's Mantle and just giving that kind of balance to the tone. And originally Lady's Mantle was always used as a wound herb, so you can kind of see that in the same light, just helping to heal and bring tissues back together, and bring integrity back to the tissues in a very balanced way. So and I just felt like knowing the remedial gifts of Lady's Mantle was just like a small yet powerful thread linking me back to this like vast web of knowledge about place and country that I was just like, I need to write a book.
Just on Lady's Mantle.
Well, I was then it made me think about all my other experiences with other plants, and just how I see why I'm seeing plantain grow out of a sidewalk crack. Why is couch grass growing out of a sidewalk crack? Or that tells you so much about what the medicine is, because couch grass breaks up stones. What is it doing in the sidewalk crack? It's breaking the stones. So yeah, it was just learning about the plants in this way through an embodied experience of the environment it blows me away, and I just feel so grounded by it. Yeah.
Well, it's fun to hear you speak about that. I was in Ireland for some time this year, and so I also saw the I'm not going to say it right, in Sheelagig. Is that right?
Sheelagig, yeah.
Sheelagig, yeah. So we visited churches, and that was pointed out to us, and then we had lots and lots of stories about the Cailleach, which
oh, you did?
Right, yeah. So yeah, thank you for sharing that, your experience there, your love of Lady's Mantle. How do you like to work with Lady's Mantle in terms of like preparations? And
so I like to work with Lady's Mantle as a tincture, and then I always add a little bit, just about 10% glycerin to a tincture, which actually does sweeten it up quite a bit, but really just because there are a lot of tannins in there, and the tannins are really that astringent nature of the plant, and so just to kind of pull those out. Yeah, and putting that into formulas. So I actually haven't worked with Lady's Mantle that much, just because it's not a big market herb, and I've only been growing Lady's Mantle for a short time, and so I don't always have a lot to harvest to make for like big batches and things. But but I do just go out and visit her in the mornings and look at the dew, and have just been learning from her over the years. And so yeah, but I do have my little tincture here. And
oh, nice. And you've shared a recipe with us on how you make the tincture. And folks can download that at herbswithrosalieepodcast.com or check out the show notes. And I'd love to hear how folks are working with Lady's Mantle too. So feel free to share that with us, tincture or tea, or however folks might be working with it. Lately, I've been wondering, so I told you Lady's Mantle has been like calling to me, and I keep thinking about Lady's Mantle. And lately I've been wondering, what would it be like to infuse Lady's Mantle and rose into an oil? And I don't know. I've never done that, never heard of it. It probably exists. I'm not saying I made it up or anything, but I've just been like wondering about that. So that's kind of on my mind to make something like that.
Yeah, and so Lady's Mantle is in the rose family. So I think about, agrimony and just all those plants that you don't really think of as in the rose family, but definitely doesn't fit, just looks so different than a lot of the other rose family plants. And actually the
tiny flowers.
Yeah, the little tiny flowers, they're almost, and they, if you look at the little tiny flowers in a loop, they kind of look like the little stamen is sort of making when there's a drop of water a drop that goes into a bigger pool of water, and it makes that sort of, I don't even know what it's called, but just that ripple effect and that kind of washing back up of the water that's on the surface. It looks like that. It looks like that's what's happening, where the stamen comes up and there's this little, sorry, my thumb, actually, I made some, if anyone's wondering, but I made some black walnut, and it just totally made my whole thumb black. But
This is
but
not like
anyway,
frostbitten or anything. You're okay.
no, yeah. I had gloves on, but the thumb had a hole. So yeah, there's just like this circular, cavity. It's very small. It's very hard to tell. And then it looks like there's, a drop of water that went in and is rippling out. But so, what was I going to say? The Alchemilla mollis really actually likes quite a bit of shade. I have the mollis species in the sort of the woodland medicinal area. So, but when I saw Alchemilla vulgaris in Iona, it was just lots of bright sunlight and actually growing out of some of the just all growing out of the stone walls and the stone walkways, and the leaves were much smaller. So I'm excited to sort of get the Alchemilla vulgaris here and in the garden and see kind of their differences. A lot of people will say there aren't that many differences, but I think the mollis is a little more hairy, a little more fuzzy. I think that's kind of what mollis might mean, but because there's Crataegus mollis, I think, which is the native hawthorn here too, and I have that one. And the leaves are much more downy. So, and you can also here's a little tiny leaf, but they're pleated when they're small, and so even like a pleated mantle, just gathering. And actually, Matthew Wood talks about the pleated leaf as sort of the gathering of the intestine walls. So I kind of see that as a good signature as well. Just tightening that leaky gut state. And you think of any kind of wound remedy is really the stomach lining and the esophagus is sort of almost like the surface of your skin. I mean, you really can work with other wound herbs in that way internally as well. So, yeah. So
I'm so glad you mentioned Lady's Mantle for wounds, because that's something that you just don't, like, you'll see it, like you said, kind of historical knowledge, but I don't hear a lot of herbalists working with that, with Lady's Mantle in that way. And I'd love to hear more about that. So folks out there using Lady's Mantle for wounds, either external, like you're describing, for healing the digestive tract, I'd love to hear about that too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Was there anything else you'd like to share about Lady's Mantle before we move on?
Yeah, I mean, there's always so much. But yeah, I mean, that was the main part, just that I was making this connection and that she was telling me that Iona was this primordial birthplace and that she helped women give birth. And I don't know, I mean, maybe even in a mythic sense too, who knows, like maybe but there were, something about birth and just helping that whole process. And I mean, if you're going to be called Lady's Mantle and you're referring to Mother Mary, I mean, there's gotta be some history there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Mother Mary, I mean, she is a being that gave birth from her own body, so I mean, gave like conception through her own body, and that just speaks to me as like the land, like she is the land. We were born from, like kind of like Venus on her shell in the Botticelli painting, so so, and that shell just looks, so much like a lady's mantle leaf.
That's true.
Yeah. So just all of those connections. So I hope listeners are downloading what I'm
and we'll put the link to your article like you suggested as well too. So we'll be sure to put that in the show notes.
Yeah.
Well, Alyssa, I'd love to hear what's going on in your herbal world. Like, what projects do you have working on right now?
So let's see. I am getting ready to do my first group consultations, which I'm pretty excited about. I really love, I mean, one-on-one consultations are a whole thing, but they can be challenging for a lot of people, both financially, but also in a paradigm way, because most people who come to me are coming to me for the first time. And so there's just like a very big shift that has to happen, because herbs, like we know, don't work like modern medicine. So my first group consultation, I want to be on menopause, perimenopause, and menopause, and just really create a circle of women who, have bodies that are going through menopause or perimenopause or about to, and really need support in that area, but in a group setting. So I'm going to try it out and see how it goes. And then I'm actually planning a second year program with a friend of mine of Collective Wonder School. Her name's Olivia Fight. And always planning more programming here within the Herbal Sanctuary. I do collaborative stuff. I have what's called the Herbal Compass CSA. And so we follow the calendar wheel and a lot of the associations with each of the seasons, and we just sort of plug in the plants, where can they support us during each of these seasons, and learn about their organ affinities and things like that. And then just being able to be with the plants each month throughout the calendar wheel, be in the garden. So I'm always adding that kind of programming and adding to that programming. So that's always really a special nugget there. And I just really want to write more. I want to write this article that I really was the inspiration. I mean, my experience in June in Scotland was the inspiration for me choosing lately to speak to you about Lady's Mantle today. And then this article came out, and so now I'm just sort of wanting to write. I mean, I've always written here and there about plants for sure, but just more extensively. So we'll see what comes of all of those things. Yeah.
Oh, those all sound lovely. Working with the plants through the seasons and following the calendar year, like that's just one of my happy spaces. I love that as well. And I'm really intrigued about this group consultation. It feels like it's like the melding of a class and like personal health too. So yeah, it sounds really fascinating. It's going to be interesting to see how that develops, and that could just be a really interesting model for all the reasons that you've explained, and just a powerful experience for the participants as well.
Yeah, and it's actually something that even doctors and nurses are practicing. So so there's definitely a lot of research out there as to why it's a lot more helpful, actually. So I'm enjoying those statistics as well. So
yeah, it's fascinating.
You see how it applies to herbalism.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, before you go, Alyssa, I would love to ask you one last question, and that question is, how do herbs instill hope in you?
Herbs instill so much hope in me, because they teach me all of the time. They're just full of lessons, life lessons, and practical lessons. And I think just my experience that I just shared with Iona and Lady's Mantle, that is so hopeful to me, because I just feel like that is so much of the grounding part, the bringing home that I was speaking of, that even brought me to herbal medicine in the first place. And when you feel home, it's feeling safe, it's feeling held, it's all these things. And you can give yourself that. The plants will give you that. You don't, I mean, there's just so much strife in the world, and I just think about so much pain and so much destruction that is happening. And I think if we can be with the earth, that's not to ignore what's going on. It's just to help yourself be embodied. You have to be grounded if you're going to help the world. And to be grounded is to be with the earth. And herbal medicine is that. It will be that for you, for anyone. And I just did this retreat, just a little yoga retreat with my mom. It was really sweet. But and the theme was grounded warrior. I mean, it's not that we're going out fighting, right? It's not, the point isn't fighting, but it's to be grounded in your own body, to be a better steward to whatever is happening, to whatever is going to blow you over, whatever is going to rock your world, you know? So, and there's just, that to me is so hopeful. And they're just all around, they're all around us, waiting. They're waiting for us to be with them, be with the plants. So
Yeah, it feels full circle. Like Plantain was there waiting, waiting to be pointed out to Alyssa. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing your experience with Iona, for speaking on Ladies Mantle, and for being here with us today, Alyssa. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much for this opportunity. And you're just such a gem for even doing all of this. It's a gift. It's a gift to all of us and everybody listening. So
No, thank you. And before we go, Alyssa, how can folks find you? What's the best way for them to stay in touch with you?
yeah, so my business is called Eclipta Herbal. So it's like eclipse, but with an A at the end. And also, if you're familiar with brinjabroch, the Latin name is Eclipta alba or prostrata. And so that is where that name comes from, ecliptaherbal.com. And that's me.
Awesome. Wonderful. All right. Well, thanks again.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye. Thanks for being here. Don't forget to head over to the show notes at herbswithrosaleepodcast.com to download your beautifully illustrated recipe card. There you'll also be able to sign up for my newsletter, which is the best way to stay in touch with me. And you can find more from Alyssa at her website, eclipticaherbal.com. If you'd like more herbal episodes to head your way, then one of the best ways to support this podcast is by subscribing on YouTube or your favorite podcast app. I deeply believe that this world needs more herbalists and plant-centered folks, and I'm so glad that you're here as part of this herbal community. Also, a big round of thanks to the people all over the world who make this podcast happen week to week. Emily Thomas Anderson is the project manager who oversees the entire podcast operation, from guest outreach to writing show notes and on and on. I often tell people, I just show up. Emily does most of the heavy lifting. Nicole Paul is the operator for the entire Herbs with Rosalee school and community. She keeps an eagle-eye view on everything to ensure it's running smoothly. Francesca is our fabulous video and audio editor. She not only makes listening more pleasant, she also adds beauty to the YouTube videos with plant images and video overlays. Tatiana Rusakova is the botanical illustrator who creates gorgeous plant and recipe illustrations for us. I love them, and I know you love them. Once the illustration is ready, Jenny creates the recipe cards as well as the thumbnail images for YouTube. Alex is our behind-the-scenes tech support and social media manager, and Karen and Emily are our student services coordinators and community support. If you've written in with a question, undoubtedly you got help from them. For those of you who like to read along, Jennifer is who creates the transcripts each week. Xavier, my handsome French husband, is the cameraman and website IT guy. It takes an herbal village to make it all happen, including you. Thank you so much for your support through your comments, reviews, and ratings. One of my favorite things about this podcast is hearing from you. I read every comment that comes in, and I'm excited to hear your thoughts. All right, you've lasted to the very end of the show, which means you get a gold star and this herbal tidbit. Well, before we wrap up, I wanted to share something inspired by Alyssa's mention of the Cailleach, an ancient figure from Irish and Scottish folklore. She's often called the Veiled One or the Old Woman, and she's a goddess of winter, storms, and wild landscapes. In some tales, she shapes the land itself by dropping stones from her apron to form mountains and islands. In others, she is the land, the keeper of endings, clearing the way for new beginnings. When I was in Southwest Ireland earlier this year, I visited a hagstone, which has a story of the Cailleach with it, and standing there with the wind and the waves all around, it really felt like the land itself was alive with her presence, wild, weathered, and full of stories. Thank you for joining me on this herbal adventure. I'll see you next time. Hi, it's Rosalee. If this podcast has brought you inspiration or grounded you in your love of herbs, I'd love to invite you to join the podcast circle. Your membership helps support the show, and it gives you access to live herbal classes, exclusive resources, and a warm community of fellow plant lovers. Learn more and join us at herbalpodcastcircle.com. Your support truly helps this podcast thrive. Thank you.